Well, Patrick Cook here. Well, thanks for returning to session number 4 of our Mastering Mandelbulb 3D Formulas. Now, in the previous session, I gave you a high-level overview of the formulas window. At the top here, those are our hybrid modes. Down below that, we have up to six formula slots that we can assign up to 6 formulas. Below that, we have the formula categories: 3D, 3DA, 4D, 4DA, ADS, which are transform formulas, dIFS, and dIFS transform. Okay. Below that, we have properties, parameters, or options, whatever you want to call it. And I had mentioned that these are formula control operators, probably as good a term as any. All right. Now, in this session, I want to talk about a concept known as iterations. Okay. All right. I think you're going to find that quite interesting. There are a couple processes that go into creating a Mandelbulb object. When a formula is run or executed, all right, the formula will repeat. It will repeat up to a certain number of times. Those repeating cycles, all right, those are called iterations. And it's actually pretty straightforward. It's actually kind of brilliant, actually. What they do is they take a formula, all right, and they execute the formula. This is all the Mandelbulb 3D doing this. It executes the formula. There's an output to that formula. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So 2 is the formula output. And what they do is they will feed that output, feed it back in, all right, and the formula will be run again with different sums that are being added as we go, okay? Now, an iteration is actually the number of times that the formula will be executed. If you had 10 iterations, the formula will be executed 10 times. 10 iterations, okay? That's what an iteration means. It's the number of times that a formula will be run with its output of the previous formula being fed back into the next execution or the next iteration. That's what iteration count means. Now, I had pointed out in the previous session that the iteration count value down here within this panel, okay, that applies to the formula. Now let me just prove that to you. We have a formula here that's been assigned to formula slot number 1. It's called integer power. Okay, let me just put an iteration count value of 5. Now let me go over to formula slot number 2. And I'm just going to pick any old formula. I'm not concerned about the formula right now. I'm only trying to show you about this iteration count. Now, I'm going to put in a value of 8. All right. Let me go to formula number 3. I'm going to put something in there, anything, doesn't matter, like that. All right. And I'm going to give that an iteration count of, I don't know, what, 16. Okay. Now, if I go to formula slot number 1, if I click on that, you'll notice here that the iteration count is 5. Formula 2, 8, just as I had set it. 3. Formula slot number 3, 16, just as I had said it. The only thing I'm proving right here is that this iteration count value is related to the currently selected formula slot. Okay? If I go to a formula slot that does not have a formula assigned to it, and you can see that because this is all empty right here, there's no formula, I have an iteration count of 0. The reason I have an iteration count of 0 is because there is no formula that will be executed for this formula slot number 4 in this case. Obviously, no formula, no iteration. All right, so this is an important concept, so hang in there. All right, so this iteration count pertains to the currently selected formula slot. All right, and this iteration count, go back to formula number 1 slot, that will instruct the Mandelbulb internal software to execute that formula, which is called integer power, 5 times, and to be accurate, up to 5 times, because there's another condition that if another condition is met, then the iteration discontinues, stops. And that condition is called our bailout. We'll talk about that later. All right, so formula number 2, we have an iteration count of 8. That means that the Mandelbulb3D software will execute this amazing surf formula up to 8 times, but up to 8 times, not necessarily 8 times, but up to. All right, and formula number 3 here, we have cosine pow 2 up to 16 iteration count. Okay, so the iteration count is the number of times that each formula will be repeated or iterated up till that count or until another condition is met. All right. All right. Are you good so far? Simple, right? I mean, it's really not difficult at all. You know, once you kind of understand what's going on, what the process is of executing these formulas, these controls are pretty straightforward, actually. All right. Now, in the next session, I'm going to be talking about these iterations down here. All right. Now, as I had mentioned in a previous session, all right, below this panel, all right, these formula operators pertain to the set, okay? So just kind of get that in your mind, that these controls right here pertain to the individual formula that's currently selected, and below that, these formula operators pertain to the whole set. All right, so let's pick this up in the next session, and we're going to talk about the formula operators that pertain to the whole set. I'll see you there.